My name is Jim Clary. Born and raised on Long Island, was a lifelong athlete as a kid. I've been a personal trainer full-time for 30 years now. My philosophy involves more focusing on the eccentric or the negative, or the lowering phase of weight training. When you lift a weight, we call that a concentric contraction. That's the muscle shortening and overcoming the resistance. That's the weakest level of the three types of muscle contraction. The isometric contraction is when you're basically meeting the resistance you're using with the same level of force. An eccentric contraction is when you're starting with the muscle in its shortened position and it's yielding to an external force or an external load. The unique thing about that eccentric contraction is that the muscle's going to ultimately adapt to the exposure to that load. It's sort of a simple process, but it's quite amazing what the body's capable of adapting to if it's applied gradually enough, safely enough. What was nice for me, it was probably about 15 years ago, in my mid-30s, that I seriously applied eccentric training. It was unexpected to grow a little bit beyond that and become a lot stronger. So when I met the guys at Vitruvian, what's impressed me is their interpretation of technology that I knew about. Electromagnets, but I would have no idea how to make it do what I wanted it to do. So the degree of precision, meaning from rep to rep, from inch to inch, from positive to negative, their application of having it be intuitive, where it senses your fatigue and backs off a little bit, or the fact that you could program it to get a little bit heavier on each repetition. So you bring it into the contracted position for the muscle, it loads you, you perform that negative rep, and then you set it so that on the next rep, it'll get 2 pounds heavier. You're not at the mercy of trying to select the weight that you think the individual should be working with, or yourself if you're training yourself. It knows where you should be better than you know where you should be, even if you've been training for years. It's almost limitless to the tweaks and adjustments you can make to get just the right amount of stress to the muscle. When you grab the handles on the device, if you think it's going to be a cable with a weight stack attached, it's a great surprise to feel it sort of adjusting as you move, and it has sort of a living quality to it. So the muscles end up getting more work to perform the task that the machine was asking you to perform, but that's the goal of exercise anyway. It feels like you're arm wrestling somebody, but it's not that movement of an arm wrestle. It's whatever exercise you're choosing to apply to it. Well, selfishly as a trainer, it's a lot less physical effort for me because I'm going to be holding the iPhone or whatever I'm going to be using to control it and basically adjusting it with a swipe or a tap or whatever to assist the client into the contracted position to perform the negative. So my labor goes way down. And I think that's going to not only enable me to be a little less tired at the end of the day, but it's going to enable me to focus that much more on what they're doing and their form and their safety. So there's something about the human body called proprioception, which is basically the way the human body reacts to external force. It is enhanced by the fact that you're able to control what the device is doing. You're able to stop it, you're able to overcome it, you're able to choose to yield to it. I think it'll be a game changer for strength training because the limitations of metal weights, for lack of a better description, is just leapt over by the fact that this can adjust on the fly from position to position. Not only can you redirect gravity with this, it can be from any direction. The base model's pulling from the floor, but you can run it through a cable, pulling down from overhead. The idea that you need to design a cam, which is a way that most conventional equipment adjusts the resistance through the range of motion. Now you can do it electronically. Since this is slow-moving muscle contractions, you don't need to warm yourself up to the same level that you would need if you were to do explosive training, meaning plyometrics, jumping, running, jumping rope, anything where there's a high amount of force. One of the things I'll often use to illustrate is I'll take a 5-pound weight plate, place it on my toe, and I'll say that, that's 5 pounds. If I was to take that same weight plate, stand up and drop it on my toe, it would have a different result. So just to illustrate that it's the sudden change in velocity, that 5 pounds is going to impact the foot width and cause maybe a broken toe, or if not, just at least a bruise. So because we're training in a way that is really slow, therefore very low force, even though the resistance, the tension is quite heavy, you don't have to warm up anywhere near as much as you would for more sporting type of activity. The V-form, I feel like, can be really tailored to the individual. One of the nice things about it is that you control it from your phone or an iPad. You can Bluetooth it up to your television. It's heavy, it's 55 pounds, but you can store it under a sofa. It's got wheels, you can slide it under, pull it out. And then I think people like me are gonna wanna build their gym around it and leave it in place and attach it to pulleys to be able to do pull downs in classes where you have several V-forms and you have a trainer going from person to person. Where it goes, I'm really excited. I know that they're talking about building capsules or attachments that could replace existing weight stacks. I mean, I love having a home gym and I also love going to the gym. But what I would really love is having the V-form technology in the equipment that I'm currently using at the gym. This is going to see the speed of each repetition, the duration of each repetition, the range of motion of each repetition. There's so many variables that are going to be tracked that I know that information is going to influence me in the future as far as the refinements I would make to get even better results than I'm already getting with myself and with others. I think having those elements in the future, not only being able to use it for different protocols, but pulling the data from different protocols together on the same human being and pulling in maybe the client and my own nutrition is and weigh-ins before the workout and looking at how these data points lay out in front of you. It can speak to you. You don't know what, it's kind of like a scientific experiment. You don't perform an experiment if you know the result ahead of time. Basically, every equipment manufacturer in the past has always tried to figure out ways to make things safer and more intense. And nothing can beat this technology in its ability to do that.